Hey, yo, everybody. It is Voltage, and we are here with the Pokemon Gen 6 tier list. So, as you can see, this one looks a bit different. If you're just joining us for the first time, there should be a card at the top of your screen, which will take you to the playlist of tier list. And keep an eye out at the end of the video, which should link you to a playlist of Pokerogue, because these tier lists are two-parters, which tie into a Pokerogue run using the top favorites in the S tier from this list. So stay tuned for all of that. As you can see, though, if you haven't been here, or if you have been here before, rather, we have words attached to the tiers now. We have sick, really cool, cool, meh, awful. This was just one of the tier lists I found, and this kind of caught my eye that they had these. I never really write them in. Sometimes I explain again, sometimes I don't. So let me just slightly edit these for you. So when I put B here, I would put no strong feelings. Somewhere in the middle. It's kind of a middle tier. I might need to change that to be shorter, but no strong feelings, that works. C is meh. I consider that to be more like sort of bad. Sort of bad. Like not super bad, but a little bad. D being awful, I like. And then S standing for sick. I mean, it's fine, but I wouldn't put that there. I'd actually put S being glorious kings. Let's call it that. These are my glorious kings. A, we'll call you the almost goats. You're close. I really like you, but you're not quite goat status. And then D is, we'll say dog. Dog. Very bad. So let's get started. We got to list them on here. Gen 6 isn't that big, so this one should be shorter than Gen 5, which was surprisingly longer than I expected. Let's get into it. Starting with the starters. All right, so Chespin, you're an almost goat. I can't put you alongside some of the other greats of the grass starters and etc., but you're there. Quilladin, though, I don't hate the guy, but I don't quite like him either. He's just kind of ugly, but he's not that ugly, but he's a little ugly. And then Chestnut, close to Glorious King, but I got to put you in A. The reason for that is that although I do like him as a starter, he's probably the starter I connect the least with, nor do I find him exceptionally good. He is cool, and I like him a lot, but there's nothing that really puts him in the Glorious King category, you know? Then we go over to Fennekin. Fennekin, you get up here in the Glorious King, or Queen most of the time in your case. I'm going to put the whole line in here because this was my starter in Gen 6. This was the one I picked. This is the one I would pick again, despite Froakie existing. I do really like what they're going for in making this Fox Witch. I'm a big fan of foxes as an animal, I've realized, especially in recent times. And I do really love the Fire Psychic combination. I think that's such a cool type combo. And I believe originally Mystical Fire was their signature move. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I believe that was originally the case, so they secure a solid spot for me. I am actually a big Delphox fan. And this X and Y, it has a special place in my heart because when I started on the DS era, seeing Pokemon evolve between Black 2 and White 2 to X and Y was legendary if you were there for it. Even if the games haven't aged that well, it was the turning of an era. And these games hold a special place in my heart, as does this line. And of course, no one can deny how goated the Froakie line is. Greninja, and if Ash Greninja was on this list, he'd be there too. Putting these guys on here, I mean, the anime did wonders for this guy, but he was already sick. Personally, I do think if the line wasn't so top tier, I would actually lower Froakie and Frogadier. I like their look, but I wouldn't say I like it the best. I actually think that I like Fennekin's whole line's look better than I like these guys, but Greninja, no one's arguing that. He is a peak Pokemon, and there's a reason he's as popular as he is. So big W's there. A lot of these Mon should likely be coming back and getting new things in Legend ZA, hopefully later this year. So I'm very excited to return to Kalos. So we got Bunnelby here. Bunnelby, I'll give you securely an A and Diggersby. I've got a fond memory of these guys, all things considered. They've got a solid design. I do enjoy their ground typing. It's helped me on a number of occasions. We'll take it. And you've been promoted to GOAT status. Absolutely one of my favorite birds. I always loved their coloring and design, and I also loved them being a fire type. but Pokerogue really sealed the deal in using this guy. They helped. I got the shiny of them, which was very nice to get their luck. They really helped me secure the bag on my first victory in the game. I've won with them before, and I love them. So great, glorious king status. Welcome in Fletchling line and Fletchinder, of course. As for you, Scatterbug, I'm going to put you in no strong feelings. I think while I may have been a little negative toward you at first, your design is good enough as a bug. I'll give you a little bit of credit to not, like, fully dislike. Spoopa, I think, is ugly as buns. And Pavilion, I give you no strong feelings because you kind of even out. I love the whole design pattern thing of Pavilion. I don't love anything else about it. So I dislike a few things about it, especially for another butterfly-themed Pokemon. I'm good. You can go in there. Same thing I talked about with Gen 5. I'm not a big fan of repeats, especially without something too new. Pavilion itself isn't very good compared to a lot of the other types like it, and the pattern is good enough to keep it out of the negative tier, but not good enough to make me raise it any higher, unfortunately. But I will say that Spoopa is the first one to get in C, so that's pretty tough. You get into A. I do really like Pyroar, but I think what hurts is I've never had a good enough experience to raise it higher. In fact, I actually will put you down here. I'm going to make a differentiation between the two. I just think that the female Pyroar looks so much worse. It just does to me. I love the full mane of a lion. I like the male lion's real appearance better than the female ones too. Litleo is a goat. I did start using him in Pokemon Rejuvenation. I think I have a Litleo. Haven't played that game in a while. Used to play it on stream. I saw someone comment on it recently, and I really do want to go back. Just got to figure out how. If any of you are seeing this and you're still interested in Rejuvenation, please let me know in the comments down below. That would be a big help. But I haven't gotten to really use Pyroar yet in that game, so I do believe that game may elevate it, and one good experience is all it takes to put this guy in S. But being as fair as possible, I can't quite put him there yet, so I'm not going to. Next is Flabebe. I like you. I think I like it enough for almost goats. I actually do think this whole line gets up there. I definitely knew Florges was, but looking at the whole line, I really like it. They are kind of like, to me, the fairy Pokemon alongside Sylveon. Like when you think of fairy being first introduced, they are kind of like the face of it. This little flower, it's very prominent in the story as well. So, you know, I found that it had a very interesting place as, like, very interesting role in my memory, let's say, as representing fairy type. For better or for worse, for fairy type's introduction. But I did think that was very cool to have a new type introduced back then. And it was lots of fun. I do love the flower design across it. My favorite would probably be Floette. I do think Florges kind of becomes like a little ugly low-key. Like low-key, it kind of does. But it has also been very useful to me on a number of occasions. So I think that kind of like combats it and still secures it a solid A spot. I'm not a big fan of Skiddo. And Go-Go, you can get in B. Skiddo, it's just Go-Go Jr., which a lot of pre-evolutions are, but, I mean, the Pokemon itself really isn't that good in any way, nor do I find it, like, particularly cute. The green should save it, but it kind of doesn't for me. But Go-Go is okay. It's an okay mon. A good experience could elevate it to A, for sure. I don't have too many negatives toward it. It's just pretty meh, in my opinion. Pancham and Pangoro. Now, I do love fighting types, and I love dark types. Putting them together is a nice way into my heart. Just used this guy the other day. I had fun, and even if the runs weren't the best, I feel like he was just getting robbed. I would love to use the guy more, and I think he's just such a raw concept. I love fighting pandas. Very sick. Furfrou has actually gone up. I used to put this thing very low, and it's actually solidly positive in my books. I really like running Headbutt. It's one of my favorite moves in the game. Instead of being super fast with Headbutt, it's I think a little fast, but it's defensive and has good damage. I really like it. It's simple. It serves its purpose when you catch it. I have no qualms against getting one now when I need to, but it's definitely not approaching Glorious Kings. It's more like an A-. It's just positive enough to make it out of B. Esper, you yourself, I'll put an A only off of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Literally the only reason. Meowstic, though, I'm going to have to give you probably B. I thought about C, but some people dislike this mon that I know. I don't particularly dislike it, so I couldn't really put it down that low, but I don't particularly like it either. It's just such a meh Pokemon. it really is kind of the definition of B tier right now. I've heard, I don't want to say that, but let's just say that I'm hoping in the future we get something for this Pokemon in general. Anything. I do think that in ZA, it would be good for this Pokemon to get something to like make it better, because it really does unfortunately fall short. We are already like, there's really just not that many Pokemon in Gen 6. I looked at them over the other day in a different discussion I was having with some friends, and there's really not that many. And funny enough, I have no D tiers. This has got to be like one of the best lists so far where I'm just mostly positive. And then, of course, we have more S's. We got Honedge right here, Doublade, Aegislash. I love swords. Swords are my favorite weapon in fiction. The concept of a sword Pokemon is very cool to me. I've seen so many fan concepts that take this to even further heights, and you might think fan concepts shouldn't count in my opinions, but it's the creativity this Pokemon allows. The imagination of someone being a fighter in medieval Pokemon in ancient days and running around with an Aegislash sword and a living shield. Like, this Pokemon is a living weapon you're fighting alongside. It's such a cool concept to me. I love that it's ghost type as well. That elevates it very high to me, like this relic of the past. It makes you wonder, back in the day, they could have been something else, you know? But I love their design. They're so cool to me. Definitely haven't gotten to use them as much as I should, but they're kind of on that wish list because I do think they're very cool, and I've heard they can be very good too, so I like it. If we're talking about a D tier, I think we're starting to get there. We'll put him in dog. I don't care for Spritzy or, what's its face? Amoonguss? Not Amoonguss. Stupid. It starts with an M, bro. Hold on. Let's look. Spritzy. I spelled it wrong, I think. It's Aromatisse. Duh. I don't know why I said Amoonguss. I know Amoonguss is the mushroom dude. Just, forgive me. But Aromatisse, when I talk about, it's not just nothing feelings. Not only do I not really like its design, Spritzy's design really isn't that bad. But Aromatisse is, I'm just going to say, it's ugly as shit. Like, can we just be real for a second? I don't like it. And the face is fine. Like, this flump on the bottom half just, like, ruins it for me. I know that I've never seen this Pokemon do anything good or worthwhile. I never would want to run it, ever. I'd almost always pick something over. I'd still pick Smoopa and Skiddo before I ran this. So, yeah, kind of a very rough one to me. I have sort of bad. I don't feel, excuse me. I don't feel strongly negative as I do towards Spritzy's line, as I do for this guy. The name slipped me for a second. I was just about to say it. It literally just left my brain. Oh my god, my brain. I'm getting bad, bro. Hold on. Okay, there we go. I needed like 5 seconds off camera. Slurpuff. Slurpuff's line. I don't have positive feelings toward it as much as I do other Pokemon, but I don't have as negative feelings toward it as I do on Spritzy. But I do have negative toward it. It feels like a slightly better Spritzy line. Still very bad, but in a Pokemon, I talk about this Pokemon Tabletop all the time. This Pokemon Tabletop I used to do has very strong feelings in my heart. There was a Slurpuff, which was this special variant, which was part fighting type. And what it would do is that it would eat other Pokemon, kind of like, swallow them whole, spit them back out, and it would have like a taste of them and use an aspect of them. Like maybe its type would change slightly, or it would have a move set from the Pokemon it did, kind of like a flavored copycat. Things like that. I thought it was really cool. I like that flavor of him, and it was a fun experience. So he gets a slight elevation because of that, but I can't put him much higher than this. So, Inkay and Malamar. Inkay, I want to put in B, and Malamar, I'm going to put in A. I used to really like this Pokemon, particularly Malamar over Inkay. Inkay's cute-ish, but he's also kind of ugly-ish. He's like cute ugly. It doesn't, you guys should know if you've been here before, it doesn't really weigh much for me. Malamar, I thought Psychic Dark was insane. I really like his design. I love in X and Y. Remember in the X and Y anime, there's this Malamar plotline with it kind of like taking people over with mind control and stuff like that and turning them against each other. I loved that. It was sick. He's just, I just never get to use the dude, nor is he high enough to be like a dream wish list Pokemon. Like, he's close. He's so close. Probably A+. But I can't solidly put him with the S tier goats. So he misses out for right now, unfortunately. Binacle, you're a very stupid Pokemon, but do I put you down in D? Probably not. I think Water Rock saved you enough, mainly because of your Evo. Spritzy's line is just pretty bad into really bad. You at least become cool when you evolve, and I actually put you in A. I like the design better when he evolves. It's weird. It's not like the best design I've ever seen for Barbaracle over here, but it's cool. It's cool to me. Maybe that's just the young. How old was I? I think I was in middle school, like 11, 12, somewhere in that range. Maybe it's that little boy in me still that, liked this guy because he's a combination of cool stuff. But I can give him A. If I could use him and be good, he might make it to S even, but I don't think that's happening if you know anything about this guy. So, Skrelp and Dragalge. Skrelp I consider to be pretty mid. Dragalge I would have put down in C. I'll give him up to B. In fact, actually, I will give him up to A. Dragon Poison is a very cool combination. I rock with that, and it's a different variation of what Kingdra is, except not even a water type. So I like that while it's kind of doing what Vivillion's trying to do, but better. So Vivillon is just another butterfly. It's another variant of this theme, and its answer to being different was being all these patterns. Not really hidden for me. I like what they're doing with Dragalge, which is different than Kingdra. They're different types, but they are still dragons you find in the water. They are still very similar in looking, kind of like the seahorse aspects. And this one's more like algae, and I really like that. And of course, in the tabletop, I had a very cool one, a giant one, kind of like a Godzilla-esque monster. So kind of elevates it there too. I would like to have some fun with this. Maybe I'll get a chance sometime-ish in the future. Haven't really gotten a good experience. He could drop. If he was good, like let's say he gets something crazy in CA, he could go up too, but that's about where they stand. Clauncher, I have to put you in B. Well, I think his design is cool. I don't have too many strong feelings on this guy. I like Mega Launcher, but at the same time, I wouldn't really want to run the guy either. The cool like big right arm launcher is pretty sick, but at the same time, he's still kind of like a shrimp who looks kind of weird. So he's kind of in the middle. Helioptile, I don't like you. I don't. I think this Pokemon sucks. But it did introduce Parabolic Charge. Am I giving too much of this? Do I really? No, I can't say it's dog entirely, but it does suck. For the Pika clone of this region, I barely even recognize it as a Pika. Actually, sorry, I just lied. That's not a Pika clone. You're the Pika clone. Yo, fraud alert. Voltage. Let's take that back. You're not a Pika clone. I was about to say because I didn't think of you as one. But Parabolic Charge is like the only positive thing I can give to this mon, and it's really only when other people get to use it that I even like it. I have no reason to run it. I hate fighting it, and it can be kind of annoying, but it's also not that hard to beat. But real talk, I mean, am I being a little too generous? No, I think when I talk about this mon, I'd put it in dog. I'm surprised to see it above like these two and even these, but like at the same time, I think my opinion has just gone down. Every time I see this Pokemon, it just goes down more and more. I can't lie. I actually wouldn't mind Helioptile's line getting a little something in ZA as well. I do think that it could help. Hell, if it got a third Evo that was raw, hey, we could see something change. Let's just say that. We could see something change. Now this, my fossil, yes, get you up there. Tyrantrum. T-Rex fossil. Do I need to even say more? It is a T-Rex fossil. Like, this, you guys, if you've seen the tier list, you know how much I love fossils. Hell yeah, you're getting yourself an S tier. Glorious King. Dragon Rock? Like, yes. I love it. I love so much about this Pokemon. I would love to be able to run it more often, but I think he's super cool. I love T-Rex. When I was a kid, I loved him as my favorite dinosaur. I was classic, I'm not trying to be different. He's very cool. Amora, you can get into the A tier, despite Rock Ice being absolutely abysmal when it comes to typing. I like his design. If it didn't, and I do like Rock Ice conceptually, not in practice. And I've used it a couple of times, and it's helped me. So, here and there. So if the Pokemon wasn't generally utter dog shit, it may even stand a chance at reaching S. It's not a bad fossil, especially fully evolved. Amora, not as cool as Tyrant, but Amoris is still not as cool as Tyrantrum, but maybe cool enough to make that top tier, but it's just that he ain't that good at all. That typing is so bad, man. We're already near the end. I'm like 20 minutes in. It's going to be one of the quickest lists. Sylveon actually makes it to S. The reason being is I have a running trend in Pokemon games where I catch Eevee, I get Sylveon for whatever reason. I'm trying to get Sylveon because I want a fairy type, or I'm just like, okay, I'll try Sylveon at this time or whatever. And it is a boy Sylveon every time. Or if I just find Sylveon and catch it. So I've taken to naming it Felix. I am a big ReZero fan. Love ReZero to death. It's one of my top series of all time. I've read all the books. I've read all the light novels. I keep up with the anime. I'm going to start reading the manga soon, and et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, Felix was the name before when it was just an anime, and now I know it's also like Ferris in Japanese. I've named them that as well just because it just fits the same vibe that Felix does, which I find funny every time I get a boy Sylveon. So I name them that, but it's just such a trend. Every time I found Sylveon, it's a boy that I name Felix or Ferris. And as such, I have just grown on Sylveon. I've used it a number of times. It's a fun Pokemon to use for me. And I really think it's in the top of my evolutions. It's not number one. Number one is Leafeon, as you saw in the Gen 4 video. But could it solidly be number two? That is highly possible. Highly possible. We'll see for sure in a future video. But it's up there, and I love it. Hawlucha. You're in the A. Definitely kind of like the definition to me of an almost GOAT, like Pyroar. I really like his type. I like the concept of high jump kick. It's a move that's not very good, but it's super fun. I like high jump kick. I like that he's just this wrestler kind of theme. I wasn't the biggest wrestling fan, but when I was a kid, my cousin was very into it. My siblings liked it a good bit. Like Rey Mysterio was very big around my family when I was younger. So with that being said, Hawlucha kind of being, just this masked wrestler was fun. He's a cool concept. He's not the craziest Pokemon of all. He could, if he got a Mega in X and Y's, or not X, Y, in ZA, if he had a Mega in ZA, I would be pretty satisfied. I think he could turn out really cool. I don't see him needing an Evo. I feel like he's very good as a standalone Pokemon, but I could see him with a Mega, and I would like that. I would. Dedenne, shitter. I don't like anything about this Pokemon. I don't care that it's cute. I don't really like most Pika clones. And this thing is like part fairy, which supposed to be it's different, but it's quite literally just a fairy worse Pikachu. It's even an electric mouse. What were we thinking? Get him the hell in D. I can't stand him. There's nothing about the thing I like. I can admit he's a little cute. Does that save him from dog shit? No. You're also in dog shit, Carbink. This Pokemon was always supposed to like have a connection to Deancey, who I like. But it doesn't like evolve into or something, which obviously does because Deancey's, legendary and or mythical. But what does this thing do? I've seen it occasionally have a little something. Like I've seen in competitive, you can make it a little bit defensive. You can do some body press action. I have gotten that on random battles and showdown with G-Freak before. Seen it do a little something. Its typing might have some niche uses, but like in an actual playthrough or in like Rogue, am I ever taking this Mon or wanting to use it? Damn near no, unless you got like the gun to the back of my head. I just don't like it. And I don't like its design much either, to be fair. But we'll wash out that bad taste with a GOAT, Glorious King, Goomy, Sliggoo, and Goodra. I love this line, bro. And I didn't think I'd love it as much as I did. I always wanted to run one in X and Y, and it's really hard to run Goomy effectively in X and Y. So he was always kind of like one of those wish list Mon. But Hisuian Goodra helped me live out that fantasy. I've been able to use Goodra a little bit more since. His design has grown on me. The slime dragon thing has grown on me. I love him. I love this line way more than I would have ever thought I would love them. I'm very happy with this. I'm very happy. Very happy. Next is Klefki. No strong feelings. I would have definitely put this guy. You know what? We'll put you in C. We'll put you in sort of bad, honestly. I was going to put no such feelings, but I would have put it in D because I couldn't stand this Mon. I thought the idea of having a keychain Pokemon was honestly just really stupid, if I'm being so real. I didn't like it. Steel Fairy made sense to me, but he ended up being pretty bad for most playthroughs for his release. And then he was like, when Pokerogue first dropped, this dude was like the myth, the man, the legend. Like the Klefki play, I cannot name the YouTuber who did it first or streamer. Forgive me if you know, feel free to say in the comments. But someone out there took this guy and basically he completely walled and countered Eternatus. There was a point where beating Eternatus was not super free. There's some people who win like every run they do. I'm not there yet, but I have won, I believe, 3 times. Currently, I've beaten Eternatus, and used to take Klefki out there, and he would body. You would also take him in endless mode, and he was kind of just like your go-to. He would be able to wall off Eternatus. They did literally buff Eternatus to counter this guy specifically, along with steel types as a whole, which used to be inarguably the best type for Eternatus. Now he does pack Flamethrower, so he can counter them very well. The Klefki meta died a while back, but I do think that was so notorious to me, I can bump him into C instead of D. Phantom and Trevenant, I'm actually going to put you up here in Glorious Kings. I like you a lot. I like Ghost Grass. I think the tree, like the coming to life tree monster, is very cool, very Legend of Zelda-esque, but very fantasy in general, very common. So I really like that. I really do like the kind of fantasy lean that Kalos has, which would have been sick if ZA took place in a more fantasy setting, by the way. Kind of curious why it doesn't, all things considered. But with that being said, I do think the horror Ghost Trevenant is nice. Phantom is actually the kind of cute I like. I kind of do elevate him for that. It's just a little ghost with the stump on his head. I kind of find that to be very fun. It's a very cool Pokemon. I've had fun using him. He's not the best, but I do like Hornleech. I like Shadow Claw on him. I've had some fun with him. So, I think I'm biased enough to put him in Glorious Kings. And you make it a B because, when I directly compare you to this line, to Trevenant, you kind of lose me. You kind of lose me a little bit. I do like the different sizes on Gourgeist. I think that's cool. But not cool enough for Almost Goats. It's just a little lackluster when compared to its counterpart. So, Bergmite, and this mod isn't dog shit to me, but it's sort of bad. I've never really seen anything good out of Bergmite and Avalugg that really elevates it. I know Hisuian Avalugg might have a little more action going for it, but I don't know. I don't really have much to say. It's just this bland ice type, kind of defensive, but still never feels like it's really doing all that much. With so many ice types, and ice is already not the best of typings, I never really found a need to pick it, but I can't say I hate it. He's just very meh on the down end. Sort of bad. Another counter to the bad taste. I love Noibat and Noivern. Literally, the video I put up yesterday, should be the day before you're watching this. Video I put up yesterday, I used Noivern, and I didn't really get to do anything with him, but I did explain that I do love this Pokemon. I was going to talk about him a little more today. I very much enjoy running him. The only negative to him is that it takes forever to get past Noibat. That level, let's pull that up. I want to have some evidence of my claim here. Let's take a look at Noibat. Noibat evolves at level 48. And let's go and take a look at its stats. You're stuck with this until 48. So if I'm being as fair and honest as possible, this Pokemon is dog shit. Very bad. And I can't even say that Noivern is super, super good, but he's fast. He's a special attacking dragon, which I find very cool. I do like Pokemon that are fast and hit hard. Taking a look at Noivern's stats to make sure I'm not spreading any misinformation here. Let's just go take a look. See, we've got 123 speed, 97 special, which is honestly a little on the low end. But it hits hard enough. It's got a decent moveset. I do like going for flinches with Air Slash. It's okay. It's really not as good as you'd want it to be, if I'm being so honest. But it just holds a special place in my heart. Maybe it's its design, maybe it's my experiences, but no matter what, I can never find myself disliking or hating this guy. I do think he's very cool, despite the weird ears. I get why, because it's his whole theme, but yeah, you get it. So, with that being said, he still makes it to S off of bias, but it's tier list, so I can be biased. Let's get to the legendaries and mythicals. Let's start off with Xerneas. Shockingly, he's only an A. I think he's the first legendary who's only made it to A, low-key. Maybe Hoenn had a couple. But I know he's cracked, but I was never playing competitive when he was massively, ridiculously broken with that move of his that buffs 3 stats if you get it off. And you can reduce it to be a one-turn move, which is very crazy. I admire that. His design is good with the antlers, and his look, I do like it. But, I mean, he's supposed to be the fairy legendary. Maybe it's that he's a deer? I don't know. I don't dislike him, but I haven't had anything about him that elevates him to the Glorious King status. He's just very good. He's almost a goat. Almost there, but not quite. Yveltal, though, guess which version I had between X and Y? I did have Y. I love this dark type being of destruction. He is the weapon. He is the end. Oblivion Wing is supposed to be wiping out armies of people. He is kind of like a baby Eternatus in a way, but he was just this terrifying menace over looming the Kalos region, this ancient figure of history whose whole existence was obliteration. I know I'm doing a little bit of selling, maybe a little bit of glazing for the guy, but that thematically was sick. And somehow they made him look like a Y, and it doesn't look completely stupid. Props to them for that. And the coloring, chef's kiss. So, great. We'll take that. This one is a little more recent, but let's talk about it. I am elevating Zygarde to S tier. Now, Zygarde's got an interesting story with me and my experiences. I know there's also kind of like the little like one cell, which is kind of funny, but it's not actually a battle Pokemon. Zygarde was very mid on its debut. Pokemon X and Y, the anime came out around the game's time. Zygarde was kind of like this hidden Pokemon you could find, except he was a massive disappointment. He had zero lore really in the game. He's just this hidden mythical with a little bit of like lore in his Pokedex. Let's take a look, actually. You know, like we're showing this off a bit. I just want to keep, you know, talking about the guy and show off exactly what I mean. So let's look at Zygarde. Let's look at his Pokedex entry, because this is all we had for a little while. Pokedex entries are right here. So this is XY. When the Kalos region's ecosystem falls into disarray, it appears and reveals its secret power. And second, it's hypothesized that it's monitoring those who destroy the ecosystem from deep in the cave where it lives. You see what I'm talking about? That was all he had. So he was supposedly a Pokemon that watched out for the ecosystem. He had a cool typing, but there was nothing about this dude. No lore, nothing for us to work with. And the other two forms didn't even exist. As far as I remember, I don't think they actually come into the game until X and Y. Let me take a look. Hold on. Let's go to complete form. Let's see if I can find locations. So you have the one here. Yeah, so Sun and Moon is where you start getting Zygarde together, where this all comes to be a thing. X and Y, base, he was just 50%, and that was it with him. That was all we had. Whether he was just incomplete before the games dropped or what, I don't know, but it was not a great experience back then. However, his come-up story is legendary. So what really saved this guy was X, Y, and Z, which the XY anime is, I wouldn't say objectively, but to a majority, I'd argue, they would consider that to be the best Pokemon anime we've had. When they got into this guy's arc and we started seeing the little guy who was just this cute tag-along, which kind of gave some charm as we collect the Zygarde cells, and we see the dog form, which is sick enough, still a little basic, but sick enough, but then we see the king, the goat, the Chad himself, the complete form. Oh my god. It made it all worth it. It made this Pokemon a legend. His design is so sick. This is the secret power they were talking about. This is amazing. I love everything about this design. Quite literally everything. And this Pokemon elevated so high for me. And then they kind of let you do it in Sun and Moon somewhat. I never actually did it myself there, but I had used the Pokemon in other situations before, and he went up. If ZA is finally going to give us more on this guy directly in the main story, I'm so there, and I'm so down. Love him. He's amazing. Thank you for the W's. Diancie has gone up for me. You can actually make it a Glorious King. Would have been B, maybe A at best, but this thing went crazy in Pokerogue. I really have started to grow in its design some more, especially when you compare it to that dog shit Carbink. It's cool. Rock Fairy is a fun typing, I have to say. I do kind of like this hidden gem. I like its signature move. I think it's pretty fun. So really, I can safely put Diancie up here. Hoopa. Oh, Hoopa. We got to talk about you. We're going to put Hoopa up here. Volcanion, we're going to put here. We're going to talk about those. But here's the ranking. I'll show the full list in a minute. But if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment your thoughts, and consider subscribing. Let's talk about these guys real fast. Oh, and remember, if you don't subscribe, I will send a Yveltal to your house. Anyway, so Hoopa is absolutely a GOAT. The Hoopa movie is so sick, and I really want to rewatch it, and sometime soon, I really do want to rewatch Hoopa's. Here you go. Hoopa and the Clash of Ages. It's not there. That's the manga. But let's go over to the anime here. So this is a series of shorts, blah, blah, blah. And here we go. Hoopa and the Clash of Ages is the movie. This was so sick because Hoopa's just creating these rings and he's just bringing in all the legendaries, bro. When you talk about a marketing movie, like, this is it. Like, if you're a kid and you're just like, oh, I want to see a Pokemon movie, this is everything you could want. I don't know how good this movie actually is. I have not watched it in a few years. I watched it, I think back in high school was the last time I saw it. It's been a few years. But I loved it. I remember it's just such a sick movie. It's the kind of thing you just put on and have fun to Pokemon. It's just one of those really, really cool events. I really do want to rewatch this sometime soon enough. I probably will. Of course, it came out during the Pokemon X and Y era, so as you can see, that is obviously amazing. It was great. With that being said, Hoopa was solidified in my top tiers from this movie alone. And then they went ahead and gave it this form and made it like this unleashed, awesome genie. And I love its design. I love what it stands for. I love its typing. I have everything I love about Hoopa. He's great. He's great. And then finally, Heatran. Not Heatran. What am I saying? Heatran. It's Volcanion. Did I say Heatran earlier too? Forgive me if I did. I've been playing with Heatran on my Steel deck in the Pokemon TCG Pocket game today. So that's been fun. TCG Pocket is very fun. I do play that. And I'm trying to build a Steel deck right now. So anyway. Volcanion is a interesting one. I saw literally, I think yesterday, I saw a YouTube short talking about some mythicals. And Volcanion is interesting when he unlocks the like latches and he uses that to like spray people. I think it's pretty cool. But he's basically just like a steam Pokemon. He creates steam. He's like the embodiment of steam. He's kind of volcano related too. He is fire water, which is cool. But I can't say, you know what? I could put him in A, but for a mythical, I'd want more. If we do get him in ZA with some new stuff, I think it would be sick. Imagine a Mega Volcanion. Like, okay. Now we're talking. Give us some more lore. Give him a roll. Give him something. Give him something to really, like, jump up into a higher tier, and we can rock with that highly. Let's not forget, the Mega's not on this list. Mega Diancie, I know, has one. Mega Diancie would go up there as well. Is there anyone else in this gen who even has a Mega? I don't think a lot of Gen 6 Mon actually got Megas, ironically. So, yeah. No, there's not, but Mega Diancie would go up there, and I'm very excited to see some Megas. This is not a list on who I'd want to see get a Mega the most. I'd probably change that some more, but I'm very excited. So here's a hint at what you can see. When I do cover ZA on the channel, here's a hint of the Pokemon you may see me pick up, aside from, you know, anything that's completely new or maybe a couple of other regional Mon, and look forward to using this S tier in tomorrow's video. So if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and of course, subscribe if you want to see more. We're aiming for 400 subscribers as our next big goal, and we are very close. So if you don't want Yveltal to Oblivion Wing your house off the map, come join the Voltage crew. I promise you won't regret it, and we've been having a lot of fun. So check out the Discord too if you want to meet some more of the Voltage crew, if you want to call my subscribers and interact with me somewhat too. You can find that link in the description down below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your nights, days, evenings, mornings, whatever times you're watching this, and I'll catch y'all next time. Voltage out.